Hello, everyone. Welcome back to day number 28 of our Cybersecurity Awareness Month tips and tricks. And today's topic is VPN. I know, another acronym. But we're going to talk about VPN and how it can protect your business. So, what does VPN stand for? Well, Virtual Private Network. And we're not going to go very far in the technical weeds because this one drops off quick. You get really inundated with a lot of discussing how it's implemented, which is also why I'm going to forewarn you at the very beginning, it really needs to be implemented by an IT professional who understands how to implement such things. Because A, just because you have a VPN doesn't mean it is configured correctly. And B, just because you have a VPN installed doesn't mean it is configured correctly. So, very important to get that out of the way. But at a very high level, what a VPN does is it establishes 2 layers of additional protection around the transmission of the data. Now, typically, a VPN has let's just say you're working from home on your laptop, so you have an origin point where the VPN software sits, and then you have a terminal point, which is normally where your corporate data lives. So maybe in the cloud, or it could be at your corporate address, however that's situated. But typically that is the way that works. Now, there's a ton of other scenarios that we're not even going to address, but just know that that's how it usually works. And it's responsible for protecting that corporate data. Now, a lot of people ask me, Ron, doesn't SSL do that for us? And the short answer is yes. I mean, we bank across SSL. We do a lot of things with SSL, but there are a couple caveats that SSL can actually be decrypted given certain situations. So we're not going to dive into that too far, but just to understand that, yes, but it's not the be-all fail-all for safety of transmission of data. It's a very good transmission of data protection, but it's not all of that, so to speak. But the secure tunnel is 2 layers of protection, and really there are some things that we're transmitting back and forth to that corporate network that we wouldn't want them to be done across the plain internet, because people would be able to pick off pieces of that conversation and they would be able to get into and be able to decrypt some of the data that we're sending across. So we don't really want that. So instead, we established this really secure tunnel. Now, the other night, if you were watching, I did a tip and trick on working from home, essentially, and how it's kind of lowered this cybersecurity bar a little bit in many ways. And one of the things I had mentioned, that even though you're connected with VPN, it's not the safest thing because you're on a dirty network. And it's the same thing if you're on public Wi-Fi or like airport Wi-Fi. And the reason for that is if someone's able to look at all the traffic and make it specific to you, so they could see all the traffic that's transmitted back and forth, that's kind of how they can get into SSL. And with unprotected, or I don't want to say unprotected, but improperly configured VPN, it's possible for them to do the same thing. So if you're on a kind of one of those public networks where the whole thing might be a sham, and yes, they're giving you your internet, but they're looking at all of your data and how it flows, that's a concern. And the second concern is that although we have this primary tunnel, if vulnerabilities then already connected to that corporate network, so you can see how that can go south. But if we prevent that from even ever getting into your computer to begin with, kind of the solution I was talking about, where we put another device on the network so your computer only talks to that device would filter out all the other stuff. It itself typically is a VPN connection back to the corporate network or to a secure network where everything is looked at and inspected to make sure it puts all those, we've been talking about for 28 days now, we've been talking about putting roadblocks in place. in both of these devices. Either way we go with that, it puts big roadblocks. The VPN is almost a wall as opposed to a bump in the road for the bad guys. So very good way of securely connecting your laptop to your corporate data. Now, there's also some other advantages, and one of them I just kind of alluded to, and that is if you've invested a lot in a good firewall, one that's looking at all of the traffic going across the wire to make sure none of it is suspicious or any of that, you're protected. As long as you've got the bandwidth to handle internet, all of the internet traffic can go across that VPN connection, and you'll have the same protections in place that you're afforded at the office. And the second part of that is if that firewall is really good, then it can also look to make sure that no funny business is happening trying to gain access or do strange things like ransom all of the data remotely. Now, normally they're not going to do that. They're going to install it on something else that's local and they'll ransom that. But it's going to look to make sure that that's not happening and give you yet another layer of protection. So a lot of protection going on. Now, if you are not a business owner and maybe you might be familiar with VPNs, a lot of people use them. And that is the format that they use is a piece of software that they put on their phone or they put on their computer. And what it does is it gives them some anonymity on the internet, meaning that the exit point, which is normally in a corporate environment, is your corporation. They put you on a node, which is the exit node, which gives you, it kind of makes the traffic that you're requesting stuff from look like you're coming from other spots. So it's hiding what your true identity and where you're actually coming from. They kind of sell that. It's also used to get around those pesky firewall rules that us IT guys put on everything. So in the beginning, when we were putting in all these protections and roadblocks and everything in the way, savvy individuals using here comes that shadow IT term again. We're using shadow IT. They were using VPN solutions to get through all of that because they're creating this tunnel. And not even the firewalls can really penetrate that tunnel to see what's going through. So there could just be a highway of debauchery going on the network, and the firewall doesn't even know about it. So most admins, most configurations, they're going to cut VPN access. It is identifiable by most modern firewalls what that communication looks like, and it's just, we cut it out. Why? We put all this money, time, and effort in protecting the data. We can't just have a tunnel that goes to, unprotected origins that can be used for malicious purposes. It's so counterproductive. I saw this firsthand. Surprisingly, for those that don't know, I mentor a robotics team. I've been doing that for a long time, and it was interesting as we hit roadblocks in terms of the school blocking us. I remember one season in particular, we were getting things from eBay and from Amazon, and the school had saw fit that year to block those sites. And within 3 or 4 minutes, a couple of the kids were like, "Oh yeah, just use my account. Here you go. You get this VPN." And they were on eBay, and it really was, for them it was to get to eBay and Amazon. It was to play games. So it's interesting to see how it's been used over the years. But you do have to be aware that you do need to shut that stuff down within your networks if you're planning on being secure, making your data secure, because that's a two-way street. You're not just going out. That stuff can come back and infect devices. So I hope you understand a whole bunch more, probably more than you ever wanted to, about VPN. But I'm hoping that it really came across the benefits of VPN and why we need to do some additional things inside your networks to block VPN, because it kind of undoes that security. So I hope you found this helpful, and we will see you next time. Until then, stay safe and stay online and have an awesome day. Goodbye.